The White House strikes landmark deals with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to cut GLP-1 prices, but will it really make these medications affordable? Plus, Novo's slowdown, Pfizer's $10 billion obesity drug gamble, and new research showing GLP-1s may even lower cancer risk. It's a week of breakthroughs, big questions, and cautious optimism, right here on Downsized News.
Welcome back to the Downsized News. It's great to have you here with us on Monday, November 10th, 2025. I'm Laraine Durham, and together with my husband Christopher Durham and our cat Jojo Durham, we will be your hosts. As someone who's lost 50 pounds using the GLP-1 medication tirzepatide, I'm excited to dive into today's updates.
Thanks, Laraine. As she mentioned, my name is Christopher Durham, and I've lost 100 pounds on GLP-1s. This is where we talk about what that's really like. The wins, the hard days, and the science behind it all.
We deliver updates on all things GLP-1, the latest on Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, and Ozempic, plus new treatments in development. Our coverage spans research, policies, and personal stories relevant to everyone managing the disease of obesity.
If you're new to our channel, welcome, and if you've been with us for a while, welcome back. We're not doctors, and this isn't medical advice. We offer support, community, and shared learning. Please consult your healthcare professional if you're interested in GLP-1 medications.
Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, The Downsized, and have that notification bell on so you catch all the exciting content ahead. Watch until the end and let us know in the comment section which news story was your personal favorite.
Story number 1. If you caught our Downsized live coverage from Obesity Week in Atlanta last Thursday, you saw this story breaking in real time. The White House announcing historic new agreements with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to lower the cost of GLP-1 medications. At a press conference alongside pharmaceutical executives, White House officials unveiled new pricing arrangements that would bring the monthly cost of Wegovy and Zepbound down to between $245 and $350. These medications, which often cost more than $1,000 a month without insurance, will also become available through a new government-run platform called Trump RX, launching in January. According to senior administration officials, the plan expands access under Medicare and Medicaid, allowing about 10% of Medicare beneficiaries to pay just $50 a month. Medicaid participants will gain access as individual states opt into the program. The agreements also include a 3-year tariff exemption for Eli Lilly and a roadmap for additional discounts over the next 2 years. Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Lilly's Zepbound are expected to anchor the program, with Lilly's upcoming oral GLP-1 or Forglipron priced at $149 for the lowest dose pending FDA approval. Eli Lilly CEO David Ricks called the deal an opportunity to rebalance the global system and expand access for Americans. The announcement builds on the administration's push for most favored nation pricing, a policy aimed at aligning U.S. drug prices with those in other countries. In recent months, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and EMD Serrano have also reached similar pricing agreements with the federal government. At the Downsized, we're cautiously optimistic. These are exciting first steps towards affordability and access, but there's still a lot we don't know about implementation, insurance coverage, and long-term pricing. We'll have a more detailed look later this week at what this could mean for GLP-1 users, affordability, and patients treating the disease of obesity. So the big news, I mean, we were on the floor at Obesity Week, and people were freaking out.
People were watching it on their phones. People were in groups watching it in different locations. So we're all about lower prices, right? So we're very excited to hear this news. In story number 2, while the week's biggest headline was the White House announcement on lower GLP-1 prices, another important story quietly unfolded overseas. Novo Nordisk, the company behind Ozempic and Wegovy, held its quarterly earnings call on Wednesday, November 5th. The message was clear. The GLP-1 boom isn't slowing down, but Novo Nordisk's dominance is. CEO Mike Dudestar put it plainly. In the first 9 months of 2025, we've delivered 15% sales growth and 10% profit growth. We've narrowed our forecast because we expect lower growth for our GLP-1 treatments in diabetes and obesity. That's not because patients are losing interest, it's because competition is heating up. Eli Lilly's Mounjaro and Zepbound are capturing more of the U.S. market, and Novo's share has slipped, especially outside the U.S. Even so, Dudestar reminded investors that 46 million people worldwide now use Novo Nordisk's diabetes and obesity treatments, about 3 million more than last year. He said Novo will, quote, sharpen its focus on diabetes and obesity, end quote, expanding telehealth and redirecting resources. The company plans to cut about 9,000 jobs globally to save money and reinvest in those same core areas. Here in the U.S., Executive Dave Moore gave the latest snapshot. Weekly Ozempic prescriptions are around 670,000 units, and Wegovy are around 270,000. But coverage challenges are on the horizon. Around 55 million people have Wegovy coverage in the U.S., including 10 million through Medicaid, Moore said, but several states have already announced changes for 2026 that could affect access. He also acknowledged something many patients already know. Compounded GLP-1s are everywhere, with more than 1 million Americans now using them. And for those waiting for a simpler option, Moore confirmed the Wegovy pill could arrive soon. We anticipate a regulatory decision later this year and are ready to launch in early 2026, he said. Novo scientists also highlighted progress on CagriSema, a next-generation combination drug. Patients achieved nearly 12% weight loss at 68 weeks, and about 1 in 3 lost 15% or more, said Chief Scientific Officer Martin Holst Lange. So what does this mean for patients? This isn't the end of the GLP-1 boom, it's the start of a new phase. Competition is forcing prices down, innovation up, and options wider. But for Novo Nordisk, it marks a turning point. The company that created the modern GLP-1 market is now fighting to keep up with faster-moving rivals. As Dudestar put it at the end of the call, the unmet need is huge. We're sharpening our focus on diabetes, obesity, and their comorbidities. We won't stop until we treat more patients and treat them better than ever before. It wasn't the biggest story of the week, but it's a reminder that even for the world's biggest GLP-1 maker, the race is far from over.
These guys are wildly profitable. Their growth is double digits, and they're still not meeting expectations.
And they're still cutting jobs and focusing on diabetes and obesity. I think their slogan is going to be, we're Novo Nordisk, we try harder. But we invented the darn thing, so
and we're still making a lot
what's
of
happening
money.
Here? Yeah.
Story number 3, Pfizer has officially won the $10 billion bidding war for obesity drug developer Metsera, a battle that's been playing out for weeks between the New York-based pharma giant and Novo Nordisk, the Danish company behind Ozempic and Wegovy. Metsera announced late Friday that it accepted Pfizer's sweetened offer, citing U.S. antitrust concerns over Novo's proposal. Novo confirmed Saturday that it's bowing out, saying it won't raise its bid and will instead focus on advancing its own obesity drug pipeline. The deal gives Pfizer a long-awaited foothold in the obesity drug space, an area it struggled to enter in the past. While Metsera's treatments are still years away from the market, the acquisition could position Pfizer as a major player in what analysts predict will become a $150 billion global obesity market by the next decade. Pfizer will pay $86.25 per share, including $65.60 in cash and up to $20.65 in contingent value rights. That represents about a 3.7% premium over Metsera's Friday closing price. Novo's final bid was reportedly strong, but Metsera's board determined it carried, quote, unacceptably high legal and regulatory risk. According to Metsera, the FTC had already called to discuss antitrust concerns tied to Novo's dominance in the GLP-1 market. Analysts say this marks a major strategic win for Pfizer and a rare defeat for Novo Nordisk, which has been trying to reclaim ground it lost to Eli Lilly's blockbuster drugs Mounjaro and Zepbound. Still, not everyone's convinced Pfizer got a bargain. Bernstein analyst Courtney Breen said the $10 billion price tag depends on some very optimistic assumptions, including the idea that Metsera's pipeline could bring in $11 billion in revenue by 2040, nearly double current projections. Metsera's early-stage obesity candidates include MET-097I, a GLP-1 injectable, and MET-233I, an amylin analog designed to complement GLP-1 therapy. Leerink Partners estimates the two could eventually reach $5 billion in combined peak sales. Metsera shareholders are expected to approve the Pfizer merger at their November 13th meeting, with closing expected soon after. So for Pfizer, this is more than just a deal. It's a shot at redemption in the obesity drug race, And for Novo, it's a reminder that even the biggest player can lose a round in what one investor called a Game of Thrones level battle for control over the next generation of GLP-1 therapies. And for patients like you and I, it's another big player in the game.
Player. So Metsera developed these two drugs that are still, quoting the story, years away. Years away. And Novo wanted it so bad. I mean, these drugs are hot, right? Novo knows it, Pfizer knows it. So now Pfizer has it, and they're not even really going to begin profiting off of them. They're not even going to come to market for a couple years yet. That's how big these drugs are. They're going to be making billions 10 years down the road, they hope. In story number 4, a new peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation delivers one of the most comprehensive analyses yet of GLP-1 medications and cancer. The review, authored by Estefania Valencia Ricon, Rajaj Rai, Vishal Chandra, and Elizabeth A. Welberg at the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center and the Stevenson Cancer Center, examined data from more than 80 clinical studies and dozens of laboratory models. The results are striking. Across the cancers of the pancreas, liver, colon, kidney, prostate, breast, and more, GLP-1 users consistently showed no increased cancer risk, and in many cases, a measurable reduction. In one large cohort, people report taking GLP-1 medications such as semaglutide or tirzepatide had a 54% lower risk of blood-related cancers compared with insulin users. Another multi-cancer study found significantly fewer cases of gallbladder, colorectal, endometrial, ovarian, kidney, and pancreatic cancer in GLP-1 users than those treated with insulin. A separate meta-analysis of tirzepatide trials involving over 13 studies showed no excess risk for any cancer type, regardless of dose or whether the participants had diabetes. Early fears linking GLP-1s to thyroid or pancreatic cancer have largely been dismissed. Modern studies show no significant increase in those cancers, and in preclinical experiments, semaglutide actually suppressed tumor growth by altering immune cell behavior. Similarly, retatrutide, Lilly's triple agonist now in trials, produced the greatest tumor suppressive effect among tested drugs in obese mice, reducing the number of animals developing pancreatic tumors by more than half. The authors emphasize that these protective effects extend beyond weight loss. In animal studies, GLP-1 therapies reduce tumor growth and inflammation even when body weight remains stable, suggesting that improvements in insulin sensitivity, reductions in chronic inflammation, and enhanced immune activity may all contribute. Additional findings point to benefits for hormone-driven cancers. Meta-analyses of men with diabetes showed 20 to 30% lower rates of prostate cancer among GLP-1 users. In laboratory models, tirzepatide reduced endometrial tumor mass in both obese and lean mice, while semaglutide slowed triple-negative breast cancer progression and cut liver metastases. Human trials are now testing these findings directly. Ongoing studies include tirzepatide for women with hormone receptor positive breast cancer, semaglutide for men undergoing prostate cancer therapy, and GLP-1 treatment to support weight management during endometrial cancer chemotherapy. The takeaway: across the data, GLP-1 medications such as semaglutide, tirzepatide, and retatrutide show no increase in overall cancer risk and may in fact lower the likelihood or progression of several major cancers. As lead author Elizabeth Welberg notes, this expanding body of evidence suggests GLP-1 therapy could eventually become a meaningful tool not just for metabolic health, but for cancer prevention and survivorship as well.
I mean, the cancer numbers are amazing. I mean, even if they could knock it down a couple of percentage points, that's hundreds of thousands of lives.
I mean, if we could prevent cancer or slow cancer growth with GLP-1, I mean, what can't GLP-1s do, right? I mean, they're just good for everything. Not everything.
They don't make pancakes. I don't know. Story number 5, a new drug called NG101 could help thousands of people stay on their GLP-1 medications by easing the nausea and vomiting that cause so many to quit. At this year's Obesity Week conference in Atlanta, researchers from Neurogastrics shared early trial results showing that NG101 reduced nausea by about 40% and vomiting by about 67% in patients who took it alongside semaglutide. The study involved 90 adults between the ages of 18 and 55 with overweight or obesity. Participants received a single 0.5 milligram dose of semaglutide along with either NG101 or a placebo for 5 days. NG101 is a peripherally acting dopamine D2 antagonist. It targets the nausea center of the brain without crossing into the central nervous system, which helps avoid other unwanted effects. Compared to placebo, patients taking NG101 not only experienced fewer episodes of nausea and vomiting, but also shorter ones. Only about 22% of NG101 participants reported symptoms lasting more than a day, compared to just over 50% in the placebo group. Participants also reported a 70% drop in how their severe nausea felt. Overall, the NG101 group had far fewer side effects, 74 total events compared to 135 for placebo, and no serious events were reported in either group. That's important because earlier research found that nearly 65% of adults who started GLP-1s like liraglutide, semaglutide, or tirzepatide stopped taking them, most often because of gastrointestinal side effects. Dr. Kimberly Cummings from Neurogastrics said the results suggest NG101 could be safe and effective to make GLP-1 treatment easier to tolerate. The trial was small and short, just one dose of semaglutide plus a few days of NG101, but it's a promising proof of concept. Jim O'Mara, the company's president and CEO, said future studies will focus on patients using GLP-1s through the full titration schedule, where nausea often peaks. He said the goal is to help more people stay on therapy long enough to reach their long-term weight loss and metabolic goals. If these findings hold up in larger, longer trials, NG101 could become a valuable companion drug, helping patients stay on their GLP-1s, feel better, and ultimately get the full benefit of the therapy. So it's
Nausea is a big deal with these GLP-1 drugs.
Yeah, and there was a lot of, in Atlanta at Obesity Week, there was a lot of conversation around these companion products to help with
Mitigate side
the
effects.
side effects, protein, you name it, all kinds of muscle loss, you name it. Exciting things to do.
In story number 6, across America, more people than ever are turning to GLP-1 medications. Those are drugs such as Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Zepbound to help treat obesity and diabetes. But new data shows something interesting. This boom isn't happening evenly. Some states are seeing a massive surge in GLP-1 prescriptions, while others are far behind. A new report from the Pennsylvania-based health analytics company Purple Lab analyzed millions of insurance claims from 2024. They found that in several states, nearly 1 in 5 adults are now using GLP-1s. And that number doesn't include people who pay cash, use telehealth or compounded versions, or don't have insurance. So the real number is likely even higher. The highest usage rates are found in the South, the Midwest, and across Appalachia, areas that also have long struggled with high obesity and diabetes rates. Here's the breakdown of the top states for GLP-1 prescriptions. West Virginia, 24%. Kentucky, 22%, Louisiana and Oklahoma, 20%, Alabama and Mississippi, 19%, North Dakota, 18%, Alaska, Arkansas, and Pennsylvania, 17%. Other states including Iowa, Michigan, Georgia, Kansas, Tennessee, and Texas all sit above 15%. On the other end of the spectrum, the lowest usage states are mainly on the coast and out west, places where obesity rates tend to be lower. Florida, Maryland, and Wisconsin are around 10%. California and Washington hover near 9%. Nevada, Oregon, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah are closer to 8%. Rhode Island comes in at 7.5%, and Hawaii has the lowest rate in the nation at just 5%. The Trust for America's Health 2024 State of Obesity Report, based on CDC data, shows the connection clearly. The 10 states with the highest obesity rates are all in the South or Midwest. In 9 of those 10 states, at least 50% of adults are now prescribed GLP-1. For those of us using these medications, that's not surprising. When access improves, people finally get the medical help they've needed for years. It's proof that treating obesity as a chronic disease and not a failure of willpower is changing lives across the country. but it's also a reminder that access still isn't equal. Millions are paying out of pocket, switching between brands, or relying on telehealth and compounding pharmacies to stay on treatment. GLP-1s are powerful tools, but they're still out of reach for too many people who need them.
Any of these numbers surprise you?
No. So, you and I are from the South. We know how diabetes and obesity runs in the South, so not surprised to see those numbers.
Story number 7 from overseas. Thousands of Scotland's poorest residents will soon receive free weight loss injections as part of a major new government-funded study. According to reporting from the BBC, the multi-million-pound Scotland Cardiometabolic Impact Study, known as SCOMAS, will be led by researchers at the University of Glasgow and could include as many as 5,000 participants from some of the country's most deprived areas. The goal is simple but ambitious: to see how modern incretin-based medications, GLP-1s like Wegovy and Mounjaro, can be delivered fairly and effectively through everyday National Health Service or NHS care. The UK government has committed an initial £650,000 to the program. Participants will receive injections that mimic or boost natural hormones. They'll receive GLP-1s. Those things help to reduce hunger and slow how fast the stomach empties. Health Innovation Minister Dr. Zabir Ahmed, who is also an NHS surgeon and Glasgow MP, said more than 1 in 3 adults in Scotland's poorest communities are living with obesity. He called this trial a landmark investment that meets people where they are, targeting help to the neighborhoods that need it most. The study will measure weight loss, quality of life, and the impact on obesity-related illnesses such as heart disease and cancer, along with NHS costs, work participation, and overall well-being. Professor Jason Gill, who leads cardiometabolic health research at Glasgow University, said incretin therapies, GLP-1s, offer a powerful new tool in the fight against obesity, especially for people who have had the least access to care. He added that without action, health inequalities will only continue to widen. Scottish Public Health Minister Jenny Minto called the project cutting-edge research that puts communities at the center of obesity innovation. And UK Science Minister Lord Valiance said Scotland has always been at the forefront of medical progress, adding that the findings could slash health inequalities across the United Kingdom. The SCOMAS study, backed by industry partners Novo Nordisk and IQVIA and teams from the University of Dundee and Edinburgh, is expected to launch next year. Researchers plan to use AI-powered tools to help patients track progress and share data in real time. If successful, it could pave the way for a nationwide rollout of free weight loss medications through the NHS, a first of its kind in the United Kingdom. For millions living with obesity, access is everything, and while this is happening thousands of miles away from us, it sends a clear message. The world is starting to see obesity for what it truly is: a chronic disease that deserves compassion and care no matter your income or your postcode. And that's the kind of progress we'll always celebrate here on the Downsized. So
Scotland, good for Scotland.
Huge program. They're testing all sorts of cool things beyond just the price. Love to see it.
In story number 8, virtual care startup Omada Health is expanding into obesity medications. The company announced it will begin prescribing GLP-1s and other weight loss drugs as part of its growing weight management program, now serving more than 800,000 members. Omada will pair prescriptions with personalized support from licensed providers, nutrition coaches, and exercise specialists. CEO Sean Duffy said the move reflects the company's belief that access to GLP-1s, quote, will grow significantly over time, end quote, and that patients need help managing an expanding mix of treatments, including upcoming oral and next-generation options. The platform's approach combines medical and behavioral support, offering nutrition guidance, side effect management, and dose adjustments, aimed at helping patients stay on treatment and see better results. For employers and health plans, Omada's new service is an add-on program designed to improve outcomes while managing long-term costs. Founded in 2011, Omada has built a reputation for virtual chronic care programs spanning prediabetes, diabetes, and hypertension. Its entry into the booming GLP-1 market, expected to reach $100 billion by decade's end, highlights how digital health companies are racing to offer full-service obesity care beyond prescriptions alone.
Another company jumping in the mix.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of options for patients, hopefully, to manage their care.
Yep. Story number 9 at Obesity Week 2025 in Atlanta. One presentation drew a lot of attention from researchers, clinicians, and yes, from us here at the Downsized. Viking Therapeutics unveiled new data on its experimental drug VK2735, a dual GLP-1 and GIP agonist designed to rival treatments like Zepbound and Mounjaro. And if the results continue to hold up, this could become one of the most talked about next generation medications in obesity care. The new data came from Viking's Phase 2 Venture trial, where participants received weekly injections for 13 weeks. Researchers looked beyond weight loss this time, focusing instead on how VK2735 affected prediabetes and metabolic syndrome, two key risk factors that often lead to heart disease or type 2 diabetes. The findings were striking. After 13 weeks, 78% of patients who began the study with prediabetes returned to normal blood sugar levels, compared to just 29% in the placebo group. And among those who started with metabolic syndrome, 68% no longer met that diagnosis at week 13 versus 38% on placebo. Viking CEO Dr. Brian Lian said these results show VK2735 could do more than help patients lose weight. Treatment with VK2735 rapidly improved glycemic status after just 13 weeks, he said. These data suggest the potential to reduce the risk of progressing from prediabetes to diabetes and to help those with metabolic syndrome reverse the condition. Those metabolic improvements build on earlier trial results showing up to 14.7% average weight loss in 13 weeks, with nearly 9 out of 10 patients shedding at least 10% of their body weight and no plateau in sight. Viking also shared details of its upcoming Phase 3 Vanquish-1 study, which will track not just weight, but also changes in physical function, mental health, and quality of life, a broader, more human-focused view of what obesity treatment can deliver. Safety data remained encouraging too. About 92% of side effects were mild or moderate, mostly the familiar GI symptoms seen across the GLP-1 class. For those of us following the science behind GLP-1 and GIP therapies, Viking Therapeutics continues to stand out. At last week's Obesity Week, VK2735 was one of the conference's clear breakout stories, and a reminder that the GLP-1 revolution is far from over. So another player jumping in.
I wonder why they only went for 13 weeks in their study.
I think it's just they're layering studies on top of studies. This one was looking at a slightly different thing. So they've got 3 or 4 different studies going on at one time.
Yeah, well, that's great to have another option coming up. Probably, and that's probably years away as well.
Maybe into next year, I think. I mean, really, in a couple of years, you could see 4 players. You could see Pfizer in it, Viking, Novo,
Right.
pretty easily, and there's a bunch more coming.
Well, in a couple of the big pharma companies that were at Obesity Week, I said, tell me about your GLP-1 drug. And they would tell me, when's it coming out? 5 years from now, 8 years from now. Okay.
It will look the same 5 years
Right.
from now.
And story number 10, it's been a big year for Hims & Hers Health, the telehealth platform that started with hair loss and skincare, and now sits right in the middle of the weight loss medication boom. The company reported third quarter revenue of nearly $600 million, up 49% over last year. Net income came in at just under $16 million, and adjusted EBITDA topped $78 million. Subscriber growth continues to climb too. Hims & Hers now serves almost 2.5 million active subscribers, up 21% from last year. CEO Andrew Durham called it proof that their long-term plan is working. We're helping tens of millions of people access personalized care from the comfort of their home. We're building a platform that's more personal, more proactive, and resonates with more people as we scale. The company says it's expanding fast into new categories and building global partnerships that could soon include weight loss medications. In its shareholder letter, Hims & Hers confirmed it's in active discussions with Novo Nordisk, the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy, to make both the injectable and the oral Wegovy available through the Hims & Hers platform once it's approved by the FDA. Now, to be clear, there's no deal yet. Hims & Hers says those talks are ongoing and could change or could even fall apart. But if it happens, it would mark a major moment for telehealth, bringing one of the world's most in-demand medications directly to consumers through a digital platform. Chief Financial Officer Yemi Okupe said Hims & Hers continues to grow profitably while expanding what it offers. Revenue grew 49%, adjusted EBITDA grew 53%, and we're broadening access to personalized care that can serve more people across more needs. For the rest of the year, the company expects revenue to land between $2.33 and $2.35 billion, with an adjusted EBITDA between $307 and $317 million, both slightly narrowed but still higher than last year. That's a strong showing for a company that's become a name in online health, and a sign of where the future of GLP-1 access might be headed: faster, more digital, and more personal than ever before.
All these companies are
Online
just making,
telehealths are the way of the future.
I mean, everybody in this game is just making money hand over fist. There's small pharma, big pharma, really big pharma, super big pharma, and holy crap,
And then
$5
Eli
billion
Lilly at the
worth.
top. Yeah.
$5 billion worth, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all making money off of this.
They're all making money off the patient paying these exorbitant prices. And the insurance company's paying the exorbitant prices.
They're all making, the insurance company's making money too. All right, well, that wraps up this edition of the Downsized News. If you're in Las Vegas or Chicago, we'd love to meet you in person. We'll be in both places in the next 10 days. Join us for the Downsized Meetup. It's completely free, and you can RSVP right now on the downsized.org. Go check it out.
And also on downsized.org, you will find links to our GLP-1 Amazon store, our Downsized email list, and even details about our 2026 Downsized Cruise.
You got to get there. Freedom of the Seas, June 4th through the 8th, 2026. Do it now. And of course, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss what's next. We'll keep you up to date on the latest GLP-1 news, explain the science in plain English, and share what's really happening on our own adventure.
Which one was your favorite?
Which story was my favorite?
Mm-hmm.
I like that Pfizer got Medicare.
Pfizer got Metsera. Not the prices are coming down?
Cautiously optimistic. Prices coming down are really good, but
Or how about free GLP-1s in Scotland? That's pretty exciting.
also good. Yeah, but I like another player in the mix. I think long term that's probably the biggest story to me.
Put your favorite in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham, and we are the Downsized.